Hello, good evening, my friends. This is Angie Stewart from Miami Inner Light here live in Kardec Radio. Very happy to be here. If you are not seeing our streaming live, you are hearing us via Kardec Radio webpage or the application that you can use on your phone. So I'm really happy that you are following our study. So we are here every week, every Thursday from 9 to 10 p.m. We are always studying this beautiful book, Among Brothers of Other Lands, and also the Gospel According to Spiritism, a very important book that brings a lot of consolation for all of us, especially now in this pandemic time that's so stressful to so many of us, that we are stuck in our houses, we don't go anywhere. I have to say that the most exciting time for me nowadays is to go to the supermarket. What is kind of crazy, because I really didn't like before. But nowadays, you know, it's so difficult, all the social distancing. So whenever we get out of the house, it's really just for the most important things. But we do it because there are so many people that are sick, and they don't have any symptoms, and we don't want to get sick and make other people sick. So it's really hard. It's very hard. I am with my mother-in-law in our home. She is 80-something years old, so I don't want her to be sick. And, you know, we have also to think about so many heroes at this moment, you know, the ones that are really putting their own lives at risk, the ones that work in the hospitals. And I'm not talking just the doctors and nurses, but everybody. You know, in the hospitals, there are so many people, the cleaning people, the people that are the electricians, the responsible for the air conditioning. So there are so many people. And also the ones in the supermarkets, in the drugstores, in all kinds of essential business that couldn't close. And we are here in Miami. Soon things will start opening. I got a few emails today saying that this weekend the parks will open. So, you know, it's good in one side, but it's a little bit stressful in the other side, because we don't want to spread this, especially because we don't have a treatment for it right now. So we really need to pray that everything will be fine. And we know that nothing happens by a chance. So unfortunately, the people that will be perishing of this disease is very difficult, because the family members cannot see them, cannot give a proper burial. So it's painful, not just to the people that are sick, but to the family members, the friends, the ones who love that person that can say goodbye. So it's tough. It's tough. But I see some friends here, and I am praying. Good and great vibrations to the enlightened spirits that everything will be fine. We will not have a problem with internet, camera, sound. By the way, I think everybody can hear me. Can hear, see just fine. Wow, so I'm glad you guys can hear me. Because we always having issues. I already prepared my second computers right here, because if something happens, I have a backup. I have to do this from now on. And so I just want to say hello before we do our initial prayer. If you're new here, I like to have always a bottle of water, so we can pray, and the enlightened spirits can really transmit the good fluids, good vibrations. And now, most than ever, we need to have some good medication for our physical body. It's important. Right now, it's important. So hello, Matthew. I'm glad that you already confirmed. You can hear me. That's wonderful. Estela da Costa. Hello, Estela. How are you? Nice to have you here. Teresa Castro. Hey, Teresa. You are always with us. Sol Souza, the same thing. Sol is always here. Carla. Hello, Carla. Nice to have you here. Always helping. Hello, Nara Brazil. How are you? Nice to have you here too. Wonderful to have you all here. So let's start with a quick prayer just to connect us with the enlightened being so we can help all of us through this journey. Okay? Dear God, our Mother and Father, Jesus, our brother, all the enlightened spirits that guide this study, that protect Kardec Radio and Miami Inner Light, all the spiritual guards, our guardian angels that are always with us, inspiring us to do good. Thank you so much for your help, bringing us here to stay for this hour, focus in the studies, trying to understand, and most of all, trying to improve ourselves, even through these difficult moments. Thank you so much for your help, and please keep us healthy with these good vibrations, with our strong faith, so we will be able to overcome all the difficulties that might not have arrived yet. Thank you so much. So be it. Very good, my friends. Awesome. I'm so happy that everything is good. The ones that are always here know that we always have issues. But today we are reading chapter 27. And the title is very good for whatever we are living right now. Abnegation of the heroes. Abnegation of the heroes. What is abnegation? Abnegation is renunciation from privilege, things they could have, but they say, no, it's okay, I don't need it. This is abnegation. And who wrote this title was Hilário Silva. We already studied few of his texts, few of his stories. He likes to give us short stories that had happened to him or to other spirits in the spiritual realm. And who doesn't know, Hilário Silva is one of the friends that the spirit André Luiz, who wrote the book Nosso Lar, Astral City, and many other books through Chico Xavier. They worked together in the lower zones when André Luiz was learning how to be able to be more helpful. He met Hilário Silva, and they were both doing the same work, rescuing spirits in need in the lower zone. So it's an enlightened spirit, and his stories are always very interesting. So let's go. The conversation among the discarnated friends that integrated our traveling team followed. Lively yesterday evening, when Luis Garcia, a spiritual friend from Spain, vibrantly said, "What spoil the spiritist movement around the world are the traitors of the doctrine, the merchants of the mediumship, the auctioneers of the phenomena, the clerks of darkness, dressed in costumes of enlightened spirits." But Pierre Bazin, a French colleague, advanced during Garcia's ellipsis and gave his opinion. "Dear Garcia, you're right, very right. Those who abused the faculty of its holy resources in spite of spiritism did and still do an immense harm. However, you and all of us cannot forget about the thousands of mediums and other fellows of our cause who brightly triumphed in their duties before the great spirituality in the last century, which is the first of our activities. Human society did not see its work, devotion, humility, sacrifice. There were thousands of them in the physical phenomena who created favorable conditions to progress, blocking moral disasters, educating the collectivity, and raising hearts for the future. Before these anonymous heroes, the merchants of the temple are a small minority. Bazin stared at us meaningfully and asked soon after, "Do you know why?" and concluded, "That happens, my friends, because in general the world is nearsighted to see abnegation." So nearsighted is when you cannot see clear, you see like in a fog. So this is nearsighted. That's why people use glasses to be able to see clear. So the world is nearsighted to see abnegation. However, all that relates to betrayal quickly reaches intense publicity because the world understands of it very well. Paris, France, July 22, 1965. Amazing message, amazing message, and so well connected with our time, you know, this abnegation of the heroes. So if we talk about abnegation of the heroes nowadays, we see this in daily news on TV. And as Hilario Silva was mentioning here, the bad news spread so quickly, so easily. Everybody talks about the bad news. The bad news brings so much fear. People get so scared. And of course, it sells a lot. Newspapers, they sell a lot when they put a horrible picture, they put big news in the front, and don't even need to be about death. It can be economy. They put big numbers, any kind of financial newspapers. Anyway, what the Hilario Silva was telling us is this: the big news, the painful, negative ones, they sell quickly. They spread quickly because we are very connected with it. We are very used to it. We understand it really well. It's almost like we cope with it. But that's not what we want. We want to cope. We want to connect with what is good, with what is positive. So that's why during these difficult times that we have now, instead of spreading negative news, because there are so many people doing it, let's do something different, something good. Let's spread the good news. Everybody's spreading how many people are sick around the planet, how many people are dying or already dead. We should spread how many people are recovered, how many people left the hospitals and they are recovering. This is what we have to spread. I already saw news like this, but if you compare to the amount of negative news and positive news, it's like 100 to 10. That's how it is. And we have to switch this. We have to spread the good news and the negative news, leave them there. We don't need to do it there. Unfortunately, there are a lot of people already doing it. So we need to connect with what is good and positive. But let's go back to the text and read little by little so we can fully understand. And please, if you just arrived, if you want to put any questions, I will be super happy to talk about it, to answer. It will be a pleasure. Hello, Hercules. Very nice to have you here. How are you doing? Your beautiful little princess. Hello, Carolina Correa. How are you? Nice to have you here too. Gabriel Inácio. Very good. Rogério Rodrigues. Hi, good evening, Rogério. So let's go. So here in the first sentences, you already understand that Hilário Silva is telling a story that he lived. So he says, the conversation among discarnated friends that integrated our traveling team followed lively yesterday evening when Luis Garcia, a spiritual friend from Spain, vibrantly said. So as you can see, he is telling a story that he heard. He participated in a traveling team. So this is a traveling team of spirits, and they are going to rescue other spirits. They are going in missions in the spiritual realm. And this is a story that he heard. So this is this man from Spain. He is commenting how things are so negative and so bad, and how the spiritists incarnated are doing a terrible job, and it's so difficult. It's their own fault, our own fault. And he says, what spoils the spiritist movement around the world are the traitors of the doctrine, the merchants of a mediumship, the auctioneers of phenomena, the clerks of darkness, dressed in costumes of enlightened spirits. Yes, we know it exists. It does exist, we all know. And there are incarnated people that are not even spiritists, but they also, they sell their mediumship. But as we know, they don't fully understand about the spiritual life, the laws of action and reaction. They are not spiritists, they are mediums. So they have less, how can I say, they have, it's not less responsibility. They have the same amount of responsibility, but because they don't know, they will be asked less. We know. So I am a medium. If tomorrow I get little cuckoo and I start charging people to come here and I will give readings, doesn't matter what type of reading, I will be reading the palms, playing tarot cards, or even really trying to contact a spirit and charging for it, it's really, really bad, because I studied and I know very well that what I get for free, I should give for free. And so he is commenting all these negative things, all these problems that always existed. But yes, of course, nowadays we have spiritism, and we have so many books that gives us details, so many books that were channeled by so many spiritist mediums. We have Chico Xavier with over 440 books. It's like, whew, amazing, a blessing for all of us. So, just from Chico Xavier, 440 books minimum that we have to study, not read, study. When you read, for example, this book, if you read this book alone, you might not have such an understanding, because we have a tendency of reading fast. We read, oh, nice message, very good, I like it. But you don't fully comprehend because you did it so quickly. You didn't digest. That's why when you are in a study group, any study group, in anything, but when you're reading books, spiritist books, for example, it's great because you study, you take portion by portion of the sentences, even the words, to understand the meaning and comprehend the full situation. So when we finish, you have that within you. It's part of you because you studied, you didn't read. So imagine how much we have to grow, how much we have to develop. I have read hundreds and hundreds of books, but I didn't read the 440 books of Chico only. Imagine Divaldo. Divaldo has over 260 books, I think. And he continues. He already have 3 more books that he is finishing. And Gigi, Divaldo Franco, I love him. He is 93 years old and he never stopped working. It's like amazing. So when we think about this type of people, their abnegation, it's really beautiful and inspiring because we think, oh, but who am I? I'm nobody. I can't do anything. Don't worry. Do your part. Do your part. If your part is to study and to teach your best friend or your daughter or your son, do it. You're already doing a wonderful thing. The worst thing is that if right now, instead of studying and learning, you are watching a soap opera. So, you know, we have to learn how to guide our time and do as the spirits tell us. To be able to evolve, we need to have a moral evolution, but also an intellectual evolution. So let's continue our part doing both. So as we see, Garcia mentioned all these negative aspects of the spiritists incarnated doing all these mistakes. But then his French colleague, he was there, he heard, and he wanted to participate of the conversation, giving his own opinion. So he continues, but Pierre Bassin, a French colleague, advanced during Garcia's ellipsis and gave his opinion. Dear Garcia, you're right, very right. Those who abuse the faculty and its holy resources in spite of spiritism did and still do an immense harm. However, you and all of us cannot forget the thousands of mediums and other fellows of our cause who brightly triumphed in their duties before the great spirituality in the last century, which is the first of our activities. So this is wonderful. So he was saying, yes, we have so many problems. There are so many people that unfortunately collapsed and didn't do what they should have done. They did lots of mistakes. They did a lot of harm. But on the other hand, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of other people that they were incarnated, they were spiritists, and they did a good job. And they learned how to well behave, well study, they knew how to really improve themselves and put their mediumship to work towards the poor, to enlighten the people in need, to enlighten the spirits. Because nowadays, the mediumistic reunions or meetings, they are closed. They are not open to public. They are closed. So this is a meeting for the mediums to learn. So we learn a lot with the spirits. They come, they tell us their problems, they tell us their pains, their aches. Many times they tell their hatreds. But then when we talk with them, when we have a conversation with them, we are able to switch and make them to understand that sometimes what they suffered, when they go back in time, in a lifetime, when they go back spiritually, when they can have their memory amplified, then they are able to realize that they also murdered certain people, and unfortunately in the next life these people were not able to forgive them, and that's what happened. Again, they were murdered. And then we have to teach them that you cannot continue this chain of hatred. You know, he killed me, I kill him. Then he will kill me, then I will kill him. Because this will never end, this chain of hatred. That's why we teach them that they have to let it go. They have to forgive. They have to learn to understand that everybody, we all have terrible mistakes. We are not little angels. No, every single person have their issues. That's why when young people go, they are in love, they date, oh, love you, love you, love you. But when they get married and they go to live together, that's when they really test if their love is real. Because when you have, each one have their own house, it's different. When you go together, you wake up, you see that person with a horrible hair day, without any makeup, with weird pajamas. Then you start like, oh, do I really want this? But when there is love, you don't see just the physical portion, because we know we are all gonna get old. I know it. We are all gonna get old, and the physical portion will get old. But if you love the person, you love what the person represents, what the person brings to you, what the person helps you and teaches you, then it's different. Then you are able to outgrow that, because you're getting older too. So we are both getting old, thank God. You know, remember the movie Highlander? That handsome guy never ever got old, never died. And I remember watching that movie and think, oh, this is marvelous. You're gonna be 25 forever. This is fantastic. But then when I continue watching the movie and I start understanding his problems, he loved the woman, he was super in love with her, but he remained 25 and she turned 45, 65, 75, she died. And he was there. So God is so intelligent in helping us to mature physically and intellectually. And you know, a lot of people don't mature intellectually. They mature in their bodies, but their minds are like crazy. But it's very important for us to appreciate it. Every age has beautiful things. But if someone asks me right now, Angela, would you like to be 25 again? No. No, it's good. I've been there, I've done that, that's good. I'm happy with my choices. And even the mistakes I did, they were important to teach me to grow. You know, many times you make mistakes are very painful, very difficult. You regret, but you cannot go back in time. So right now, let's learn with our mistakes, and as we have to, let's avoid making new mistakes. This is very important. That's why we're here, to learn to avoid making new mistakes. So he told us this beautiful story, this positive story. So we see the Spanish guy gives the very negative side, very painful. Everybody heard and like everybody got down, because when you hear some negative story, you get that vibration, you get that energy, and you feel down, you feel sorry, you connect with that. So you're like, the world is ending. And then came the French guy and said, no. Yes, there's lots of problems, there's lots of issues, but there were so many martyrs, there were so many people bringing wonderful things for us, wonderful examples for us. This is what I always say about the glass. Is your glass half full or half empty? Two glasses, they have the same amount of water. You look at it. If you are positive, you will say this is half full. If you are negative, it's half empty. So we have the days that we are always saying is half empty, but let's try to breathe and face it in a little bit more positive and say it's half full. Because I already drank the other half, that would be even better. So the story continues. I have to pay attention to the time because I really want to do the gospel, especially now that everything is working. Let me see if anyone wrote anything, because sometimes I can't even see the comments, so I feel terrible that I can't even see the comments. So Teresa said, wonderful message. So needed to hear today. Yes, Teresa, yes, we need. There are some days a little bit harder than other days, and some days it's tough. So it's good when we hear something that's positive and help us to bring our energy, to boost our energy up. And Saul said, thank God we have so many blessed studies here in Kardec Radio. Exactly, Kardec Radio is a blessing. It is a blessing. And it's even more of a blessing right now, because we are always stuck in our homes. We can't go to spiritist centers. I know there are a lot of people that they don't even have a spiritist center wherever they are. So for them, it's even more difficult. But to the ones that have a spiritist center and are missing it so deeply, Kardec Radio is a blessing, because we can continue our studies. And I have to tell you, you have to discipline yourself to continue your studies, because it's very easy to elapse, you know, like, oh no, I'm not gonna do it today. I don't need it. Oh no, I don't need it too. Oh, I'm gonna watch a soap opera. Oh, I'm gonna take a bath. Oh, it's very easy to do it. And let me tell you, these are the negative spirits, our brothers and sisters that didn't learn so much yet, and they are trying to remove us from good things that we do. This is the same thing whenever you are doing the gospel at home. I don't know if you have, if you do the gospel at home or the God at home, but when you are trying to implement it, when you are trying to start it, it's very difficult. You forget, someone calls you, people even knock at your door at the day and the time you established to do it. I already told here a few times that when I started many years ago, I don't know, like maybe 17, 18 years ago, when I started, everything happened. And there was one day that I even told, I had a friend from Brazil, also called Angela, and she used to call me just for 1 minute because it was so super expensive. Didn't exist WhatsApp. No. You had to pay a phone company to call international. So she used to call me for 1 minute, and she used to call and she used to say, Angie, your gospel, do it now. And hung up. And I was like, oh my God, yes. I was always forgetting, even when I put alarm. So she was the one that really helped me. And this day she had called me. I took my books. I went to the bedroom to do the gospel at home. In that time, I did in Portuguese. So I went to my bedroom. I didn't even have my son. And when I'm in the bedroom and I sit down and I'm gonna do the prayer, I hear someone bling 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 outside of our home. And then I had already told my husband, if the phone ring, please answer, and I do not want to be interrupted. So I heard my husband going down the stairs, opening the door, was a house. I was on the second floor, and I heard him telling, oh, I'm so sorry, Angie's doing her prayers, and she cannot talk to you right now. And then it was a friend of mine, a neighbor, and then she said, oh, it's okay, no problem. I just passed to say hello. And then I said, wow, look at this. At the time of starting the gospel, it's almost like the spirits, they try anything to stop us from doing good. That's what happens to this study sometimes. Sometimes there is no video, there is no sound, the internet disconnects. You know, I have been doing this for a few years and always have issues. But the important thing is we cannot give up. We have to be strong. And yes, we have to be well prepared. I have this computer and I have that computer. So if this one had issues, I would turn on the other computer. So you have to work your brain also to have solutions. So what our friend is mentioning here is, yeah, there are so many negative things, so many problems, but it's up to us to see what we are going to connect with the negative news or with the positive ones. And then he continues, human society did not see work, devotion, humility, sacrifice. There were thousands of them in the physical arena who created favorable conditions to progress, blocking moral disasters, educating the collectivity, and raising hearts for the future. Before these anonymous heroes the merchants of the temple are a small minority. Bazan stared at us meaningfully and asked soon after, do you know why? And then he concluded, that happens, my friends, because in general the world is nearsighted to see abnegation. However, all that relates to betrayal quickly reaches intense publicity because the world understands of it very well. So this is also what it tells us that I mentioned before. You know, the world understands very well negative news. Anything that's negative, anything that's bad, the world relates to it. Like I said, it feeds on it. Like the news they sell, the numbers they are booming, the newspapers, the TVs that, oh, later on we are going to talk about how many people died in New York City. So everybody, whoa, what time? Oh, 9, let's connect to it. Oh, I had the study of the Among Brothers. Oh, no, forget about it. I can't see this next week. I'm going to see the news of the New York City sick people. But we have to find this within us. Say, okay, do I want to know the numbers? Can I do anything to change it? Can I do anything good? Watching how many people are dead and how many people are sick? Or if I come to one of these studies, would I improve myself? The answer is obvious, but we all have our free will. We all have the possibilities of making right or wrong choices. So it's up to us. So whenever people say, oh, God punishes people, it's really bad. If you do this, you're going to be punished. No, God does not punish anyone. Whenever we go through pain and suffering, it's up to us because we are the ones who committed mistakes. And we feel punished, but in reality is our conscience that has that stored there, and it has all the information of all the negative things that we have ever done. It's stored here. So whenever we are going to reincarnate, all the things we did bad are stored there. So our conscience wants to get better. And at the same time, we know that the law of action and reaction. So if we did something negative, we will end up suffering the consequences of this if we don't do something positive to counteract that act. So what I'm saying is that people think, oh, so if 300 years ago you killed someone, you will be killed in one of your lives. This is not like the law of talião. Pena de talião was a law from the past, from the time of Moses, that if you robbed, you will have your hands cut. If you raped, you have your penis cut. If you did something, if you look with envy, you're going to have your eyes perforated. It's not like that. Spiritism teaches us that if we made mistakes, but if our conscience woke up to that, we will reincarnate and we will want it to be able to do something to improve ourselves and be able to pay our mistakes. So imagine someone that, like this, in a past life killed someone, or maybe more than one person, killed a lot of people. And they went to the spiritual realm. They went through all those times of difficulties in the lower zone, suffering was very painful. Then they finally woke up and they asked for help, sincerely asked for help, and they received, because we all receive help. They were brought to one of the spiritual colonies, like André Luiz was brought to Nosso Lar, but there are so many others. And in this place, he spent many, many, many years learning all the things that he did wrong and how to make it right. And then one day arrived the opportunity for this person to reincarnate. And then he asked to be able to reincarnate in a certain location. And he would like to help people. So the spiritual guides, they give you possibilities, they give you ideas whenever you have a merit for it. They give you ideas, they tell you, listen, you could do this, you could do that, this would be better. And maybe they suggest you could be a doctor, and then you would help a lot of people. So this person will reincarnate with all the possibilities to be a doctor, and he will, let's suppose he becomes a doctor. But now comes his part. He has the free will to be a good doctor or a more or less doctor, to be a doctor that really loves his patients and love what he does and really wants to help, or that type of person that, you know, became a doctor because brings a good salary and a good position, but he avoids this, avoids that, don't want this, don't want that. So it depends on this person, what type of choices it's doing and how he is doing a cleansing of his past mistakes. So this is always about us. We are the ones who need to take the choices. You know, we get all the possibilities. Of course, we reincarnate, we forget, we don't remember. We don't remember why we like someone or why you don't like someone. And as I was mentioning this last week, it's really good that we don't remember, because it can bring a lot of pain and suffering if we did. Can you imagine? I already said this, but can you imagine if the brother that you have such a hard time, you really have a difficulty with this brother, difficult relationship, suddenly you remember this brother was your ex-husband in a previous life that killed you. If you're a spiritist and if you have a support and if you have a better understanding, this will be better for you, because you will like, oh, okay, so that's why. So I need to work better this time. But if you are a person that doesn't have a lot of knowledge, this can bring a lot of perturbation, much more difficulties. So God is merciful, and it's really good that we can't remember all the details of our past life. We need to be much, much stronger to be able to remember. You might be thinking, oh, I could remember because I would deal with this so easily, so peacefully. Not really. It's very different when we go through something. You know, it's very easy for us to tell someone to forgive, because we study, we know to progress, it's important. So we tell, listen, the only way for you to evolve is to forgive. It's easy to talk, but whenever it happens to us, it's very difficult. We know it's important, we know we have to, but sometimes it's still very painful. And of course, there are so many different things, so many different levels of forgiveness. Forgiveness of someone stealing your bicycle and someone murdering your family member. So these are very different levels. But at any time we have to do what we preach, it's harder. So we have to study, because whenever a moment comes that we have to really do whatever we talk about, that's when we are going to give our real testimony. And that's when it's tough. That's when it's really tough. But if we are better prepared, it will be easier. The same thing with life and death. You know, we all know we will all die. We are born with the only certainty in life that we will die. One day we will all die. But whenever someone you love dies and you miss that person, it's so difficult, because you miss it. You have the understanding life goes on. We have the understanding that we love each other. So the bond of love connects, but we still miss that person. We want to have that person physically with us so we can hug. Even if the person is far away, we can call and talk. And I'm looking forward to the time, the spirits already said, will be a phone call to the spiritual realm. So I'm looking for it. Whenever it happens, it will be really good. But until it happens, we have to have this inner strength within us to help us to go through these difficult times. But you know, it will reach to a time that we will be able to do that. So we have to go to the other book. I'm just seeing a message from River. There is a big difference between punish you and give the opportunity to fix our own mistakes. Exactly. You know, that's what I explained, that the punishment is different than when our conscience is requesting us to be able to do certain things. Matthew says, isn't that a Muslim law? Matthew, I'm sorry, I really don't know much about the Muslim laws. But if you can tell us, then we can try to see if it's similar or not. River said also, I think in the time of the Pantaleon law, pena de talhão, Pantaleon, I don't think it's Pantaleon in English. Law was no Muslim yet. They came after. Maybe I'm wrong. Well, I don't know. This pena de talhão, that I can search the correct law in English, I will put in a Miami Inner Light page, is the law from the time of Moses. So the time of Moses. Remember, Jesus Christ reincarnated more than 2,000 years ago, and Moses thousands of years before. So it's really, really something extremely old. I will get all the information. I will put in Miami Inner Light page, so we can really have this correct. We can't have any mistakes. So let's go to the gospel now. And we are in chapter 7. Blessed are the poor in spirit. And there is a message here, the last message. We have just 10 minutes, but we can do it. So the last message is from the spirit Ferdinand, a protector spirit from Bordeaux, France. So the title is The Mission of the Intelligent Person on Earth. It's number 13. So I will read certain portions of it so we can comment. So it goes. Do not pride yourself on what you know, because such knowing has very narrow limits in the world on which you dwell. But even supposing you were one of those distinguished personalities on this globe, you would still have no right to flatter yourself. If in his designs, God has enabled you to be born into an environment where you are able to develop your intelligence, it is because he wills for you to employ it for the good of all. Very important. So if you were born with this bright mind, so intelligent, that's able to create so many things, this prodigy, so it's very important for us, or for the people that are so bright like this, to not be so proud of themselves. Oh, I'm so bright, I'm so intelligent, I have the highest grades, I can invent amazing things. This is good. It's good that you can do that. But what is bad in this is then when you feel so full of yourself, when you feel superior to others, because that's vanity, that's your pride is really like, you think you are so much. And Ferdinand tells us, if God gave you this superior intelligence, it's not just for you, it's for you to create things around your world to help others. It's always that thing, like whenever we learn something, we should spread the knowledge. So if we know something good, we should help others to understand it too. That's more or less like what I like to do in Spiritism. But I learned with the time that whatever is good for me might not be good for others, unfortunately, because we are all different. And sometimes what I am prepared to understand, to accept, and to devote myself, other people are not yet. And you cannot force anyone. But it's a little bit different than this here. He is talking about really intelligence, not about this relationship with spirituality. That's what we are living right now and loving right now. But it's like if your intelligence is developed, if you have this beautiful gift, use this gift in a positive way to be able to bring positiveness, to bring good things, good developments. If you become a scientist, create good things for your planet. That's what the Spirit is telling us. And then he continues, putting it in your hands, the instrument that will help you in your turn to develop the intelligence lagging behind and lead them to God. So that's what we have to do. We have to develop our intelligence and lead it to good things. So we are really improving, helping others. It's almost like when you are doing some charitable work. You are helping yourself, but you are helping others too. Whenever we help someone else, we are helping ourselves. We are receiving so much positiveness, so much joy and good vibrations towards ourselves. That's how we are helping ourselves when we are helping others. And this, talking about this intelligence, it reminded me a story of two extremely bright minds. One, I wrote his name, George Westinghouse. I absolutely love George Westinghouse. If you are able to, please Google who was him. He was an inventor from the same time of Thomas Edison. They both lived and invented in the same time. But there are huge differences between these two men, both extremely intelligent, both very bright. But Thomas Edison was very tough. He was a very difficult man. And every single invention that he had a company. George Westinghouse also had a big company. They both were competitors, fierce competitors. The main difference is that they both hired people that were inventors. The difference is Thomas Edison hired you as an inventor, and whatever you invented, the patent had to be under his name. You are his employee. Whatever you invent, he will patent. So that's why he has hundreds of patents of so many inventions. George Westinghouse was different. You are an inventor. You work for him. You invent something. The patent goes under your name. That's why he didn't have as many patents in his name. It's very interesting. It's very interesting how these two men were so bright, and they both brought so many amazing inventions to our lives, including the light bulb. Yes, the light bulb. But when we learn the personalities of each one, then you understand, wow, Westinghouse was an amazing soul, an amazing man. And just to finalize, because we have very few minutes, the last portion of the message says, intelligence is rich in merit for the future, but on the condition that it is employed rightly. So intelligence is full of merit for the future, because you will be able to do things in the future, but with this condition, when it's employed rightly. If you use your intelligence to invent something that's not good, it is a problem. Can you imagine Albert Einstein, for example? Super bright mind, a very, very amazing man. He even mentioned God so many times, but unfortunately he was involved in the creation of the atomic bomb. We don't know if he was creating the atomic bomb with the purpose of killing people or not. We don't know, but we know that in the spiritual realm, for sure, he felt really, really bad, because something that he created, the atomic energy, he was able to understand the atomic energy, put in paper how to deal with it. It was created to kill so many people. So I'm sure this was something that hurt him so badly. So we have to understand that our creations, they have to try to be towards the goodness. Try to be towards the goodness. That would be the ideal. But as I just mentioned now, we don't know. We don't know if he didn't even know that was gonna be created to kill people. Or if he knew, maybe he didn't know what was gonna be the ramifications or the consequences of this act. So we can't be blaming him for this. But it's just something for us to think and imagine. We don't know what really happened. But then we have, unfortunately, many make of it an instrument of a pride and perdition for themselves. Humans abuse our prayers for the planet. Humans abuse their intelligence like all their other faculties. Nonetheless, the lessons are not lacking to warn them that a powerful hand can take back that was given, that it has given them. Ferdinand, Protector Spirit, Bordeaux, 1862. So the last portion of the message is that we have to understand that everything we have with a split second can be taken from us. So if we live and we are so proud of whatever we have built, even using our intelligence. Oh, I'm so proud because I built this empire. And we know from one moment to the other, it can be totally destroyed. Analyze our living moment right now. Analyze how many companies are breaking, how things that you never imagined in your life would happen. We never imagined this type of things would happen, but they happened. So it's very difficult, but we have always to be humble and to understand that things can change drastically from one moment to the other. So we have to try to do our best to be the best we can, even, you know, a little bit a day. That difficult neighbor, the difficult boss, the difficult partner, forgive, love, and continue working on the righteous path, because that's the only way that we can improve. So my friends, it's 10 p.m. is our time to pray for our beautiful blue planet. If you don't know, I invite all of you every day to put an alarm on your cell phone, and at 10 p.m. we can all pray together for the planet, for this difficult time of the coronavirus. So let's close our eyes for 1 minute and do it. Mother Mary, at this time we are together with so many friends around the world that are going through a very, very difficult time due to this coronavirus. So much uncertainty, so much fear. We would like to connect all our love, our positive energy, all these good vibrations in this beautiful chain of love, sending this vibration of positiveness around this beautiful planet so we can all feel it. And under your guidance, Mother, you, the Mother of Jesus, came to earth to receive such a special spirit who gave his life to help us to understand that we have to change so much. Please stay with us. Protect all of us in our homes, in our cities, states, countries, in this whole planet. Help the people that are already sick so they can be strong, they can fight the disease, and they can overcome it. But if it's not possible, guide them to their new life, to the spiritual realm. Inspire their families, guide them, help them to cope with these difficulties, and help us to understand the message that we need to change, why we are all locked in our homes, why we were locked. What can we do to change? How can we improve ourselves? And how can we improve our society? Inspire us through our sleep tonight, so we will wake up feeling better and having these positive ideas in our minds flourishing. Thank you so much. So be it. So my friends, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for praying together. And we know we are going through a very hard time with this coronavirus. Wherever you are, it's very difficult, but we will do it. We will do it. We will overcome all these difficulties. We will be able to tell to our grandkids when we get very old, we're going to say, yes, I remember 2020 was a very difficult year in my life. And we will get beautiful lessons that we will be able to share with these children in the future. But until then, let's continue connected with what is positive, what is good, what is can boost our energy and the energy of your and our friends. Okay, thank you so much for being here, and I will see you again next Thursday. Mwah! At least a virtual kiss, because nowadays we can't even kiss anymore. Mwah! Bye-bye. Thank you.